This is the most disgusting, heinous, low down, dirty, sneaky, narcissistic, MK Ultra bullshit I ever heard. Like, bitch, what? Like, what? Nobody needs your supervision. Nobody asks for your solutions, and nobody needs to sound the alarm. Not Kevin Federline writing a memoir. Please tell me my eyes are deceiving me right now. I sat down to kind of look at, what's going on in the world. And the first thing that pops up is an article about Kevin Federline and a little snippet of something he was shading Britney Spears about in his new memoir. All of her life, Britney Spears was just a tool for her parents to make money. And then when she got married, I mean, that guy was an idiot. All I remember from Kevin Federline marrying Britney Spears was just what an idiot he was. Now, she was after my time. My taste in music developed before Britney Spears, and I did watch this whole thing with her conservatorship unfold, and it really broke my heart. It really broke my heart. And when she got out of the conservatorship, it kind of broke my heart all over again because they had fried that poor girl's brain. They refused to allow her to speak. They, just did so many horrible things. But I do feel like, that piece of garbage husband of hers, had he done his job and been a real man, a better husband, more supportive and caring and protective of her, had he stuck it out and stayed with her, and had he protected her from her god awful family, she probably never would have gotten put in a conservatorship. And so when I see the memoirs of Kevin Federline, like, bitch, why is your name popping back up? I will never put a single penny of my money anywhere, anywhere to pay for anything Kevin Federline has to sell. And I hope to God that all of you guys out there feel the same way. And I hope nobody reads his goddamn stupid ass memoirs, not off the back of this poor woman who was a slave since she was a child. It's ridiculous. Like, bitch, what? Like, what? I want to read this article because I want to see what Kevo has to say about his memoirs. And then I really want to go and take a look on TMZ because don't you know they are taking snippets out of his memoirs and splashing it up like news articles and trying to smear Britney yet again. Can you just leave her alone to go dance half naked on Instagram? If that's what she likes to do, let that poor girl alone. She has served you all long enough. But nope, not this asshole. Let's take a look at this article. Kevin Federline reflects on his relationship with Britney Spears in his memoir, You Thought You Knew, due October 21st. I don't know what this idiot can have to say, but I guarantee it's using Britney once again to make a dime. So in a new memoir, Kevin Federline, the dancer, DJ, and ex-husband of Britney Spears, provides his perspective on their strained relationship and says he is concerned that the decision 4 years ago to release the pop star from her conservatorship may have been ill-advised. Did this bitch just weigh in? Did I just read what I think I read? I can't. I cannot. Guys, I hate this. I hate him. Nobody asked you, Kevin. Leave your 2 cents out of it. Don't worry about what Britney is doing, okay? Don't you think you've done enough? Could you imagine that life? It makes me so emotional to imagine what that poor girl went through in her life and how many years. How many years? It was like never getting released. It was like she was put in prison for nothing else but for being talented. She was put in a prison to be like a court jester and dance for everybody else. It's insane. Anybody that's not elderly with dementia, this shouldn't even happen to. Okay. And You Thought You Knew, due October 21st. Federline, 47, charts his path from teenage knucklehead growing up in Fresno, California, to husband and father of 2 children with a singer. He and Spears finalized their divorce in 2007 after 3 years of marriage, and then began a prolonged, messy custody battle that ended in 2008. In his book, Federline recounts his version of that dispute and talks of Spears' use of drugs and alcohol and angry outbursts during the late stages of their marriage. So you mean to tell me, I mean, obviously, other than the drugs, but the alcohol and angry outbursts during the late stages of their marriage? So she acted like every other woman who's pissed off at their man because they're a piece of garbage? Okay. Poor you. Like, your perspective? Like, in the 18 years since their split, Kevin still isn't over it. Federline has observed his ex wife largely from a distance as the pair co parented. We haven't spoken in years, Federline told the New York Times in an interview, but he writes about becoming increasingly concerned with what he describes as Spears' erratic behavior, which he learned about mostly secondhand from their two sons, Sean Preston, now 20, and Jaden James, 19. How dare you open your big mouth and complain about anything that woman does right now? Because, had you protected your wife and realized she was going through a mental breakdown and actually needed help and not locked up in a conservatorship, yeah, she might be normal right now. In one chapter, he recounts the time when the boys, as teenagers, declared that they did not want to go back to their mother's house for several reasons, including fear. They would awaken sometimes at night to find her standing silently in the doorway watching them sleep. "Oh, you're awake," with a knife in her hand, he writes. Then she'd turn around and pad off without explanation. No. You know what? She probably would watch them sleep because that's the only thing that gave her peace. It was the only thing that made her feel any type of joy and value in her life. We're not all stupid, Kevin. In the penultimate chapter of the book, Federline fully expresses his concern. "The truth is, this situation with Brittany feels like it's racing towards something irreversible," he writes. "It's become impossible to pretend everything's okay," he adds. "From where I sit, the clock is ticking and we're getting close to the 11th hour. Something bad is going to happen if things don't change. And my biggest fear is that our sons will be left holding the pieces." Nobody says that. Nobody says the clock is ticking and we're getting close to the 11th hour. If you see that your loved one is suffering mentally, you get some help. You don't force them on lithium and own them. There was, like, a story of Britney saying, like, the one day she wanted sushi, and they told her no, her parents told her no. No, I'm not talking about when she was little. I'm talking about, like, when she was a full-ass grown woman after rehearsing all day and playing a show and maybe getting an award, I don't know, but she said she wanted sushi for dinner, and they told her no. Now that bitch made more money than God, and you couldn't buy her sushi? Like, out of here. From what it looks like from my perspective is like, you know, he failed her as a husband. She was having a mental breakdown because she was overworked and her family treated her like complete and total trash. She was probably paranoid because she thought everybody was out to get her, which they very much were, obviously. And then they locked her up, mentally tortured that poor girl, force fed her lithium, it made her life a living hell for years and years and years and years and years. And for what? Because she was a little bit crazy? Look at these out here in Hollywood right now. Look how crazy half of them are. Look at the shit Diddy did. And he doesn't get a conservatorship. But Britney Spears, a spokesman for Spears, declined to comment on Monday. In her memoir, which is being turned into a film, good. Spears disputes that she ever had significant substance abuse issues and characterizes her custody battle with Federline as traumatizing. I bet. She writes that Federline had not let her see her son for weeks on end and tried to convince everyone that I was completely out of control as part of his bid for custody. I 100% believe that. Mhm. He was a remember him? Remember how bad we hated him when he came on the scene with her, and we could all see that he was like this lazy piece of crap and nobody wanted to see him with Brittany, and then he did her like this, he did her that dirty? Yeah. He's one of the main reasons that her complete and total life just was destroyed, in my opinion. Federline, who's also dabbled in reality TV, said he had not discussed the contents of his memoir with Spears. "I've never, ever once been against Brittany. I've only tried to help my sons and have an incredible relationship with their mother. And it's hard because when I really reflect on everything that's happened, my kids do not know the woman that I married. And I've spent 2 decades trying to bridge that gap." Bitch. Just look at him in here. Look at him in this picture. He just looked like somebody if I ever had a daughter and she brought that home, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Spears has expressed interest in repairing her relationship with her sons, and several times within the last year, she has posted on social media marking their time together. Spears rose to the pinnacle of pop stardom, then was placed in a conservatorship that oversaw her finances and personal affairs in 2008 after her mental health struggles spilled into public view. Are you kidding me? I love how they try to make such light of a conservatorship. Oh, it was just somebody overseeing her finances and personal affairs. No, it's slavery. It's not someone overseeing her finances. They were in charge of every dollar that she made. When they say her in charge of her personal affairs, they made her work on her birthday. They made her do anything they wanted for that coin, and then they kept it, and then they spent it how they wanted to spend it. The story of this just goes so deep, so dark, and takes so many twists and turns. There's just no way for me to explain it here. If you don't know what happened to Britney, you really should check it out. You really should read her memoir. That girl deserves for someone to hear her voice. She really does. In the book, Federline discussed the evening when Spears was whisked away to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center and placed under a 72-hour involuntary psychiatric hold following a 3-hour standoff involving their children. Well, I wonder why. A 3-hour standoff involving their children? Like, bitch, come try to take my 2 little children. After saying I'm crazy, making me look like a lunatic, and then you're trying to take my kids away after you haven't let me see them for weeks at a time? You're gonna call it a standoff? A standoff? How dare you? It was one of the hardest nights of my life, Federline writes. I felt sick over what she was going through. This was someone I had loved, someone I had built a life with, the mother of my children. A Los Angeles judge terminated that conservatorship in 2021 after finding that it was no longer required. I mean, thank the dear Lord, but why in the world did it take that long? Yeah. Do something like this to Britney because you want her money, because you're not talented enough to go out and make it yourself. Federline says in his book that the so-called Free Britney movement, the push by fans and supporters to have the conservatorship terminated, may have started from a good place, but he writes it vilified people around Spears so intensely that now professionals with the ability to help his ex-wife may be too afraid to step in. Really? You think? I hope that all of Britney's people continue to protect her so that these so-called professionals with the ability to, turn her into the psych ward and put her in another conservatorship are afraid to step in. I sure do hope so. I sure do hope so. You people need to leave that woman alone. She isn't doing shit to you. So obviously, like, why is this dude popping up now writing a tell-all, a memoir? Are you punk ass broke bitch again? And you need Britney's name to make you more money? Like, oh my God, you're so pathetic. You're so pathetic. This is like the definition of how not to be a man and how not to have a set of balls. He's probably got micro balls. If he has any, they're micro. They're like micro testicles. All those people who put so much effort into that, he writes, should now put the same energy into the Save Britney movement because this is no longer about freedom. It's about survival. Okay, so what he basically did is used an entire book to make people think Britney's crazy again and that she needs help again. Is he really the most disgusting, deplorable, perverse human being you've ever heard of? In recent months, Spears has again drawn the attention of tabloids and repeatedly raised the concerns of some in her circle, with posts on social media that include a video of her dancing in a mansion that appeared to have a dog excrement on the floor and with a bandaged knee, writing on Instagram that it snaps out now and then, not sure if it's broken. Like, girl. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Do you think Britney Spears at any point in time in her life had to clean up anything? Do you think she ever had to do chores, do laundry, clean up dog shit, walk a dog, vacuum, organize? No. She had people for that. And her family sure as hell used her money to have people for that when she was under that conservatorship. So you know what? Sorry if she doesn't really know how to do any of that because nobody taught her. And maybe she doesn't have enough money to do it now because you all robbed her blind. Did you ever think of that? Maybe she's terrified and paranoid to have another human being come in her house and manage things for her because she's afraid of people, because she can't trust anyone, because you all, who she trusted the most, made her into a slave for years and years and years. Did you ever think of that? Yeah, I didn't think so. Though Federline in his book concedes he does not know the perfect solution moving forward. Did I didn't ask him. Did you ask him? Did anybody? Anybody? Speak up if you asked this mother what the solution for Britney Spears is. She doesn't need a solution. You're literally creating a problem that doesn't exist. And then saying you don't know what the solution is. Bitch, back the fuck out of her life. Leave her the fuck alone. She has nothing to do with you. You're supposed to be a grown fucking man. Your children are grown men. Leave her alone. This dude is so evil. Can you believe how evil this is? He's trying to put these little thoughts into people's mind about Britney like she's crazy again. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Oh my God, this motherfucker. And who cares? Isn't she a grown ass woman? If she wants to hang around in a room full of dog turds, she's allowed. She's perfectly allowed to. And if her knees popping out left and right, I'm pretty sure that when it hurts bad enough, she'll go get it checked. She's probably terrified of doctors, terrified of an assistant, terrified of somebody to come in and clean up, terrified to have any type of people around her because y'all, the people that were closest to her for years and years and years and years and years, completely and totally stripped her of everything that made her human for years. So no, she probably doesn't trust anybody to come in and help her with anything. And whose fault is that? Kevin. Oh, sorry, guys. Though Federline in his book concedes that he just doesn't know the perfect solution moving forward, he asks that anyone who's ever been moved by Britney stand by his children and their mother. Now, more than ever, they need your support. I've been their buffer for years, but now it's bigger than me. It's time to sound the alarm. This is the most disgusting, heinous, low down, dirty, sneaky, narcissistic, MK Ultra bullshit I ever heard. No, it's not time to sound an alarm. Not at all. Not at all. Because Brittany danced around on Instagram in a dirty house. Out of here. Everybody here is grown. Nobody needs your supervision. Nobody asks for your solutions. And nobody needs to sound the alarm. And then, guys, hold on. On top of that, now TMZ wants to try to get in on this and they want to try to go round two, making you think Britney's nuts. Are you ready? Are you ready? All right. Now we've got TMZ. Okay, let's see what TMZ has to say. Kevin Federline on Britney Spears. Something bad is going to happen. Ominous warning in new memoir. Bro. TMZ's got to pick up for this asshole now? Leave her alone. It's none of your business what she does. You all are worried about Britney Spears, and there's little children being exploited on the internet. And you want to talk about Britney Spears dancing around in a mansion that's dirty. It's like they are dogpiling Britney right now, and it's really pissing me off. So yeah, I just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. I really hope that Kevin's book does terribly. I hope that people just don't even buy it because he's such a loser. He's just trying to make more money off of Britney's name. And shame on you, TMZ, for trying to bring down mental health issues on her that nobody needs to even be worried about. She doesn't have infants in the house. She doesn't have small children in the house. She doesn't need somebody to watch her. She's a grown ass woman, and her children are grown ass men. It's like these grown men have nothing better to do than pick on a woman, a poor, traumatized woman at that, who's been a slave for years. That's who you want to pick on? That's what you're going to do? I'm going to go buy Britney's memoir and I'm going to actually read it. I think everybody needs to hear her story in whatever way she wants to get it to us. Anyways, I just wanted to share this with you. Please, 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 go support Britney's new memoirs and try to listen to her story because it is a real tragic story. And I can't believe that a woman in this day and age can actually have this happen to them. It's terrifying because you just never know. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one.